see the shootout. First 20 laps, if it stays green, we'll go commercial-free. Pace car to pit road. Been a long time since Homestead. I know it's snowing where some people are, but we're going racing live on TNT. Fans, winter's over, and the new season has begun. Schrader leads the first lap.
Isn't this fantastic, seeing these race cars back at Daytona?
Schrader takes the point. Now, these guys will be real patient this first segment anyway. They're just getting the cars up to speed right now and feeling things out. You won't see a whole lot of aggression here this first segment.
It's a 20-lap segment. Your scoring loop at the top will count down to the final lap of the first segment. 1 lap complete, 19 to go.
I thought that Elliott Sadler on the outside was going to get left, but looks like he is fighting back on the outside with a car right behind him. And that car is Scott Riggs.
An update from Alan Bestman.
Bill, just before the start of the race, Tom Baldwin, Elliott Sadler's new crew chief, came on the radio. This was a car that thought they could win the Daytona 500 pole earlier today. It didn't work out. He came on the radio, told Elliott and the team, I know we're disappointed we didn't get that trophy, but we've got a lot of racing left to do this week, including this one. Marty?
Alan, meantime, the man right behind him is Jimmy Johnson. Chad Knaus told me this morning, we're trying an experimental setup. They won this race last year. He said, you know, I think the setup might work for the Daytona 500, but I won't know until we run it today. We'll find out. Matt?
To win this race, Marty, many drivers will say you've got to go on the aggressive approach, as Tony Stewart was battling side by side trying to take that lead. But before the drivers walked out on the stage, he pulled his young teammate Denny Hamlin aside. He said, this is your opening day to try to earn respect. Be patient. Don't make any zigzag aggressive type moves. Show these guys that you can run with them, and it will help out later in the week.
Big test for guys with little experience on a restrictor plate track.
5-car, Kyle Busch in the middle of that pack, was in the middle coming off of turn 2. Looked like he got a little bit sideways there. Man, you've got to be careful when you're in the middle there. You need to keep your line and not make any mistakes. Dave?
And Wally, do you remember how you described Kyle Busch in last year's Pepsi 400?
Yes.
The most fun car to watch?
Yeah.
I think he's going to be that way again today. Spoke to him yesterday, and he felt like the car was going to be able to go to the front. It drives well, and Kyle is not afraid to be aggressive on this track.
Kyle Busch in that 5-car, the CarQuest machine, right behind the 24 of Jeff Gordon.
And we see the 8-car of Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to work his way towards the front, right behind the 25 of Vickers. And man, are they close.
I'm telling you what, that 5-car is second time he looked real loose getting off turn 2 there.
50-year-old Ken Schrader at the front in the 21, right in front of Tony Stewart. Matt Kenseth in that white 17, in front of Ryan Newman in the 12. An update on the leader from Marty Snyder.
And Schrader said he could see out the right side of his car just barely, and with information from the spotter, he said, I know that 38 up there is going to try to make a run. Let me know when he gets close. Schrader wants to block that run.
20 cars in a pack. The 55 of Michael Waltrip laying far behind the pack. An update on Nemechek from Allen.
Bill, Joe Nemechek feels the only way to approach this race is to be aggressive. He said there's no other way to attack Daytona, and he used that word, attack. Look for him to try and make some moves and get to the front.
Looks like the 17 car of Matt Kenseth may be overheating. It looks like he's pushing water out of the radiator.
I saw something. I couldn't tell exactly what it was, Wally. I thought maybe it might be tire smoke.
I think if you get a shot of the hood, right to the side of the hood on the windshield. See there? That's water coming out. That's usually where the engine starts overheating, and Matt's dropping back.
Matt Kenseth, who failed to complete.
Water around here. I told you something was wrong with this car all weekend. Got to put water in it.
So you got to put water in it. You're right, Walter. That was water coming out the overflow.
Can you nose it, or is it lost water already? Pretty sure it's blowing up here. It's cooled down to 260. I got water pressure, so I'm trying to run it until we get a caution. But it was pegged and pissing water here, so something's wrong with the car. I knew there was something wrong with it the whole time.
It's been a disappointing day for Matt Kenseth. Failed to complete his qualifying run earlier today in qualifying for the Daytona 500.
Now, if he can just hang back here, not lose any more water, and get the engine cooled off, because he's not running the pack. The car will run cooler now by itself. He can hang on for those until that break comes. They can put water in the engine, and he'll be fine. Just got to be careful not to push out too much of the water.
Casey Kane in the 9 car, tucked up right behind the 48 of Jimmy Johnson. An update on the 17 from Dave.
Well, Bill, just to point out what a bad luck day this has been for Matt Kenseth. Remember what happened in Daytona 500 qualifying earlier today. Lost a tire as he left pit road, and now this with the engine.
Tough day for Matt, crew chief Robbie Reiser, and the rest of that 17 bunch.
I'll tell you what, looks like that Elliott Sadler in that 38 is getting a real push. The last lap was on that by that 01 of Nemechek.
Schrader continues to lead. Tony Stewart searching for a way around the 21. Matt Yoakum.
Now, yesterday in the garage, BP, remember that conversation we had with Bob Osborne, Carl's crew chief?
Uh-huh.
He said Carl runs the best in the bottom. The biggest thing they told him, go out and have fun. But his spotter, Bobby Hudson, said, be careful through the trial. People have been wild, and they can really get you loose there.
Hey, what? Nemechek got on the inside. Nemechek in the 01 car is, I wonder if Elliott Sadler has problems in the 38. He's dropping back pretty fast.
The yellow car on the high side of the racetrack. That's Nemechek in the 01. Sadler in the M&M's machine.
My guess would be a Hamlin situation with a 38 car, that he just did not feel comfortable up there with all those cars right behind him.
A lot of new colors.
Of course, there's hardly any place where that car's right behind you.
It's Mark Martin in the 6 behind Sadler. Dave on Mark Martin.
You didn't just talk a lot about him, did you, Bill?
No, sir.
Okay, just trying to check. I know I repeated myself there on the 17. For Mark Martin, he was looking for a place to run. He said, I'm trying a couple of different lines, just trying to make something work. In these first few laps, Mark said, I like the high side.
Gets loud and crazy down there, doesn't it, Dave?
Yeah, it does, but I'm supposed to listen to you.
I would appreciate that. An update on Junior from Allen.
Yeah, Bill, Dale Earnhardt Jr. loves this race car. Looking to get it up through traffic. Was not concerned about starting way back in 19th position. Remember, he won this race from that spot a couple of years ago. Right now, Junior just kind of boxed in line. Do you really want to make it 3 wide this early in the race, Wally and Benny, just to try and push a couple of spots farther to the front?
I don't think it this time, but Jeff Gordon disagrees with me. 24 car, he goes underneath Nemechek. I guess if your car's handling really, really great, why not?
And this 8 car that Alan was just talking about, Tony Eury Jr. said this is a brand new car. It hasn't been raced before. When they brought it to the racetrack and practiced on Friday, that was the first time he'd seen any action.
And they kept throwing things at it, Benny.
Yes. Not only for that car, but to also see how they thought it would help the Daytona 500 car.
Schrader continues to lead in that 21 car. Then it's Tony Stewart. What are you working on, Alan?
Just noticing that Michael Waltrip was way back off the end of the field and went down to his pit to check on what's wrong. Remember, he had such optimism before the start that he was talking to us. Nothing wrong. He said he wasn't aggressive enough on the start and just lost the draft.
I got the impression from when he talked to you, Benny, that Michael planned to stay back there for the first 20 laps. Watch and see what happens, and if you have a big wreck, he's going to pick up a bunch of positions.
Oh, there we go. They're looking. Stewart looking, but nope. Jimmy Johnson, the 48 car on the high side. He's going to get some help from his teammate here, Jeff Gordon, in just a second.
Marty
Hey guys, here's how much respect drivers get sometimes, Wally, and you know about this. Kevin Harvick just radioed his team, said my entire inside of the car is filled with smoke. There was no response from the crew. I just asked the crew chief, I just said, are you guys going to talk to him and find out what's going on? He said, no, not until he tells me what's going on, or he smells a specific smell, but we're not going to ask until we have to.
Marty, I just heard him say something about the rear end gear.
Yeah, I heard that too while we were talking, BP, so it sounds like it might be a rear end gear problem for Harvick.
Jimmy, that's a very distinctive smell. That's not, you don't confuse that with anything else.
Battle for the lead, and it's Johnson and Gordon working together and going to the front.
Teammates from Hendrick Motorsports in that high line.
Whoa, 99 down on the apron. Carl Edwards going into 3. That could be tricky.
Handling is critical here at Daytona. Johnson trying to lead a lap.
Got 3 Hendrick Motorsports cars lined up on the outside.
Boy, that 26 car, Jamie McMurray, looks pretty strong, BP.
Yes, he does. He looked good the other night practice, Friday night practice.
Lee Johnson in the 48, Jeff Gordon in the 24, Brian Vickers in the 25. Marty on Gordon.
Hey, Bill, those Hendrick cars are muscling their way to the front. Jeff Gordon pushing Jimmy Johnson. And we told you earlier, Jimmy Johnson running a little bit of an experimental setup, trying something for the Daytona 500. His teammate, Jeff Gordon, doing the same things. Look, these guys may have hit on something for the 500.
Well, they're hitting on each other, and that's helping.
And Matt and I, that conversation we had with Bob Osborne the other day, the crew chief on the 99 car, he showed us the front end on the 99 car, and it looked like a cow catcher right behind the bumper that you see with 2-inch bars so they can go up and pound on those cars in front of you.
You do. In this type of racing, you hammer the guy in front of you. When you're going down the backstretch, you get a draft on the guy in front of you, and you just pound on his rear bumper. And
Trouble! Brian Newman is around. Several cars involved.
Hold on.
Oh, we're going to get the inside wall, aren't we? Yes, we did, I think.
It's Dale Jarrett in the 88. Casey Kane in the 9. Caution is out. Field is frozen. Brian Vickers, heavy damage to his car.
And Scott Riggs. He needs to run all these laps, try to get all the practice he could for Thursday.
Let's see, he's right there underneath McMurray. He backed out a little bit. I think McMurray got a little bit sideways, though, after Vickers got into him, and chain reaction.
Also looked like Mark might have gotten into the back of the 25 when maybe the 25 lifted.
Well, the 26 of McMurray got sideways when Vickers got into him, and McMurray probably had to lift a little bit. We'll watch again here. You see he's getting him sideways.
Yeah, just that little bit of touch on the left rear quarter bumper on that 26 car.
Kyle Busch in the 5 is right behind the 25. This is Jarrett trying to make a move.
And you know, when you're following a guy and there's something happens 2 cars ahead, we talked about this the other night, it's very difficult to see through these cars right now. I mean, you're looking through the windshield. See, as you're driving, you can't see what's really going on in front of you, directly in front of the car. He did a good job right there getting through that.
Couple in front, all clear all around.
Now on board with Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Still inside. Oh, Rick.
Through the grass.
Wow. Junior did even a better job. Although he did, looks like he got hit in the right rear, maybe.
I
the 8
thought I
car?
heard something on the 8 car.
Or they're checking the left rear.
Alan?
Yeah, Junior came in, said he took a hard shot on the left side of the car. They shut the car down, let the crew get up under the car with jack stands and check the suspension over. He's just left. We'll get an update from crew chief Tony Eury Jr. in a second. Ryan Newman has just come onto pit road as well with some significant damage on the left side of his car.
Kevin Harvick pushed to the garage. They've stopped just behind pit road with Harvick's machine. It's Ryan Newman. He's been on pit road.
And he did make contact with that wall that protects his cars from the lake on the backstretch.
Riggs is leaving pit road in the 10.
He didn't. I don't think Riggs beat the pace car out.
Caution laps do count in the shootout. All restarts will be double file, and there will be no passing on the restarts until you get to the start-finish line. Another look at why we're under the caution here at Daytona.
He had McMurray sideways twice.
I wonder if the 5 car might have gotten the back of the 25.
He did. Yeah,
I think you're right. It was the 5. You're right. From the one angle, it looked like the 6, but it was clearly the 5 right behind him.
I'll tell you what, that 9 car took a divot as he started to stop, didn't he?
An update on the 17 of Matt Kenseth from Dave Burns.
Before this action, Bill, Matt reasoned that the car had cooled itself down to an adequate level, about 210 degrees. So they're filling it with water right now because the water pressure was at 0.
Thanks, Dave. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Casey Kane, Scott Riggs, Ryan Newman, Brian Vickers, and Dale Jarrett all got a piece of that on the backstretch. Under caution in the 28th running of the Budweiser Shootout at Daytona, where Ken Schrader is scored as the race leader.
I don't think DJ hits anything. He sees the trouble, backs off.
All right, stay where you are. Stay right where you are. Coming.
And that grass is awfully wet.
It doesn't handle well in that grass, does it?
Casey Kane took a divot like you do, BP. This is on Scott Riggs' car.
Back her down. Come inside. Okay, you're clear all around right there. Clear all around. Come on.
What was that?
What was that? Did he puncture a tire? Or?
Yep, right front.
Oh, okay.
Dave, what's up with the 29?
Well, the good news is his car is not destroyed, but what about your motor?
Yeah, we've kind of had trouble with it since we've got here, and the thing wouldn't run in the first session, and we thought we'd fixed it for the second session, and it just every lap it just started getting slower and slower. So lost the draft there, and it finally filled the cab up with smoke. I think it's just locking itself up. So sucks for the Reese's people for their first race, but glad to have our Reese's Chevrolet on a lot of races this year, and we're looking forward to having them as a partner. So hopefully this is just this motor, because these are the same as our qualifiers.
What was the vision or the breathing like inside the cockpit?
It was kind of smoky, but the breathing part, I guess my nose isn't working very well, because I couldn't really get a good sniff on what it was, but you could tell it was something burning up and something filling the cab up with smoke. So not a good start, but better today than next Sunday.
All right, thanks, Kevin. Go back to green, Bill.
Thanks, Dave. This will be a double file restart. The top 11 cars did not pit. From Bill Elliott, 12th on back, cars have been on and off of pit road. Now they've waved off the green flag, and the yellow is back out. Rodney Wise in the flag stand.
So, okay, we're going to try this the next time by. So Casey Kane says, okay, since they're not going to go back green, I'll make another pit stop. Make some more adjustments.
Just one lap to go in this segment.
I think they decided to. Did he go by his pit?
Yeah, he just drove by. I don't know.
I think they just waved him by.
So Casey Kane returns to the track. And to update the restart, it will be a double file. And again, the top 11 cars did not pit. Let's see what's coming to TNT.
NBA All-Star 2006 is coming. See the T-Mobile Rookie Challenge. Watch the action of All-Star Saturday night, presented by AOL. And don't miss the spectacular All-Star game. It's NBA All-Star 2006. Coverage begins February 17th on TNT.
East meets West for one dramatic weekend. The NBA All-Star Weekend begins February 17th at 9, only on TNT.
Is that Rick's car smoking back there?
I don't know if that was Riggs or if it was Ryan Newman's car.
Saw a car smoking down the backstretch a moment ago.
19 laps are complete. The first segment is 20 laps, and this lap will complete the first segment. We will not go back to green. They will leave the caution flag out, and that will send the field to pit road.
Now, a lot of guys are probably want to make some good, serious adjustments to these cars, because this is You learn more in these 20 laps than they have since they've been here.
That's right. There'll be a 10-lap break for teams to work on their cars. The running order is frozen, so you cannot gain an advantage on pit road. Then there will be a 50-lap segment to complete the Budweiser Shootout. This lap completes the first 20-lap segment. We'll take a break. When they go to pit road, we'll be back here at Daytona. You're watching the NASCAR NEXTEL Cup Series Budweiser Shootout on TNT. After the first 20-lap segment, the cars are all on pit road. Let's go down to Marty.
Well, Ken Schrader came down pit road, obviously led for that entire segment, Bill, and the only concern for Schrader chassis-wise was that the car was just a little bit tight, but they're a little concerned about the engine because it was actually running too cold. You very rarely hear that, but Schrader never got behind anybody else for the engine to really warm up. Jimmy Johnson finished second in that first segment, and Jack Canals very happy with the car. Jimmy said it was a little bit too tight at the end of that run, but they decided to make no changes to the 48 car. Alan?
Elliott Sadler in. They're going to take 4 tires, put fuel in his car. Not talking about anything significant on the 38 machine. You see the work there at a fairly leisurely pace. The crew members chatting with Elliott. Up in Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s pit, driver out of the car. You see the guy in the helmet on the driver's side of the window? That's Dale Jr. He's climbed from the machine. He wanted to check out the damage himself. He wants to know what kind of confidence level he should have and whether he's still got something he can race up there for the win with in this final 50-lap segment. Matt?
Alan, even though there is a brief intermission, the 99 team used this pit stop like it was actual in-race competition. Wanted to shake off the rust, treat it like it was real time. Now they're having a good debrief between Bob Osborne and Carl Edwards. Now, Carl was pretty much hung on the bottom that entire segment. He wanted to try to ease up high, but the car was tight. Made a slight air pressure adjustment. Dave?
And we're with Brian Vickers right now. Can you guys run the replay upstairs for Brian? He'd like to take a look at this because I was about to ask him what went on, and I know he'd like to get a good look at it here. First of all, you've been checked out in the med center. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. You know, it's not the start that we wanted to get to the season, but you know, the GMAC Chevy team had worked real hard. You know, I just always like to try to check the replay and see what all happened. But you know, we were running through 1 and 2 there, and the car jumped up on the outside of us, and you know, we were 3 wide through the middle of 1 and 2, and the car on the bottom was coming up, and the one on the top was coming down as we come off turn 2, and didn't really have anywhere to go. Just kind of got pinched, and you know, and I tried to get out of it to avoid a wreck, but you know, you can't do that because you're just gonna get hit from behind. You know, because the people behind you can't check up in time.
You were looking for a spot after Jamie came around the outside there. Is that what you're saying? Was he the fast car on the outside?
Yeah, I think it was Jamie. I'm not sure. There was a car came around the outside of us. We were 3 wide, and I'm not sure if somewhere along in the mix, I knew we were 3 wide, but I don't know if the other 2 knew we were 3 wide because the way we came off 2, they didn't. Somebody there didn't seem to think we were 3 wide, and I tried to get out of it and back up to avoid a wreck, and you know, it was just too late. Those 2 cars came across my nose, and then as I was lifting the car behind me, got in the back of us, which is, you know, if you try to get out of a 3 wide situation too quick, that's what's going to happen. You know, the guy behind you just can't react in time. But you know, it's a tough day. It's not how we wanted to start the season, but hopefully we got the blown motor out of the way. We've got the wreck out of the way. Now we can go win the Daytona 500.
And the good news is Brian Vickers is okay. Bill?
Thanks, Dave. Under caution here in the Budweiser Shootout. Driver of the Budweiser Chevrolet, Dale Earnhardt Jr. supervising repairs to his car.
What's that? It's new Icebreakers Ice Cubes gum. They're frosted cubes that are surprisingly cold. Whoa. Hill, who says whoa?
Whoa. Whoa, Nelly. Whoa.
New Ice Cubes gum from Icebreakers.
Something you can race with to the finish?
Yeah, it didn't get run over too bad. Just a tough crash back there. Really wasn't nowhere to go. I think we'll be all right, though.
All right, Dale Jr. has had a look at it, and he thinks he's got something he can work with. Bill?
Well, this is the reason we're under caution. That's on board with Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Took a shot there in the left rear pretty hard, and you want to be careful that the rear wasn't bent or there was some kind of a problem there with the rear end as hard as he got hit, but seems to think it's okay. We saw this earlier. Carl Edwards down on the bottom here in the 99 car, and he's coming up on Casey Kane, ducks below the yellow line, actually has the car on the apron, which is tricky in itself. But that's a no-no, and NASCAR is going to send him to the back. Matt?
Well, he hit the intermission in the 4th position, but NASCAR is going to send you to the back. Your thoughts on that move, which, by the way, nice save.
Thanks. I don't know if I can share my thoughts on the penalty on the air. That was just me trying not to wreck the whole field. Casey was going to block me a little bit, and that's too bad they think that way, but we got 50 laps. I guarantee we'll be back up the front, but we might have to do some more of that. Hopefully they don't penalize us the same.
And NASCAR's rule is now, if he had made that move and then given that position back, he would have been okay, but he did not give the position back. That's why he's going to the back. Snyder?
Well, Matt, Ken Schrader started up front and finished this race up front, and we talked about the water temperature issue. That was very low for Schrader. Now, for a guy who told me before the race you didn't care about all those laps in the middle, you sure ran up front awful long time.
Well, I told you earlier I didn't want to go to the back, get in the middle of them guys and split them up and get 3 wide. That looked a little dangerous to me, so I thought I'd try to keep us 2 by 2.
You were so considerate for that. Talk about the car, and are you worried about those two Hendrick cars right behind you?
Well, you know, we got one right behind us on the start, though. That's good. You know, when they teamed up, they were real good, but 99 of Carl Edwards came up and gave us a good boost, so heck, we got a long way to go and a pit stop, so we'll just see how we fly home in this Air Force Ford.
Schrader said the worst thing that could happen is the 24 and 48 get together, Dave.
And with Jamie McMurray right before he fires it up. Jamie, you were almost involved in that. How close was that?
It was close. I got a big run on the outside of the 25, and you know, you're trying to get back down, and I'm not sure if he got tight, but I couldn't turn the wheel because I was so free there. Somebody was on my left rear, and you know, we're fortunate to stay out of that. It's you never know what's going to happen when those wrecks go on. So our car is really fast. The Crown Royal Ford Fusion is, I think it might be the car to beat here in this next segment.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that. They made a couple of changes to fix a car that was a little bit tight.
Thanks, Dave. The field beginning to form, and we'll go back to racing here at Daytona. But first, we have to work on some of the equipment. Make sure the lens is clean on the onboard camera for the final 50 laps of the Budweiser Shootout. The new Cheesy Bites pizza, a pull-apart crust with 28 cheese-filled bites. Gather round the good stuff. And by Napa Auto Parts. Napa, get the good stuff. A lot of good stuff going on.
Get the good stuff everywhere around
Sure
here.
do, especially here at Daytona. Field back out on the track, still under caution. Here's what we've seen so far. 21 cars rolling off for the 28th edition of the Budweiser Shootout with 50-year-old Ken Schrader on the pole. Then here comes trouble.
The 25 car goes in the left side of the 12 and bangs him, and around he goes in the inside wall. The other shot is the 5 pounds the back of that 25.
29 car, Kevin Harvick. It sounded like engine problems. They weren't sure if it was rear end or engine, but I guess it's going to be the engine after all.
Level down the old Reese's machine. And this was supposed to be a night race, but instead it's a late afternoon race. Scott Riggs got some tape on his visor, trying to keep the sun out of his eyes.
Trying to put it a little bit lower, I guess.
What's he doing, driving with his knees there?
Yep.
Field getting lined up. We're getting ready to go green flag racing. We'll take a break, come back to Daytona for the Budweiser Shootout on TNT.
All right, he has clean air going to the motor again. Bill?
Thanks, Dave. 50 laps to go in the Budweiser Shootout. We're under green. Jimmy Johnson in that 48 car on the high side. Ken Schrader in the 21.
Wow, looked like the 48 car was going to drive by the 21 on the outside, and I don't know. Well, now the 21 is coming back.
Now they're still getting up to speed.
Takes a lap or so to get up to full speed because these are restricted motors in these cars.
Looks like the high side is pretty strong.
Boy, is it going something.
Don't get below that yellow line there, Mr. Hamlin.
Denny Hamlin in the 11, a Nextel Cup rookie. We saw Carl Edwards get penalized for going below the yellow line and making a pass.
So Jimmy Johnson, Tony Stewart, easily in front.
Mark Martin in third. No.
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're here for you,
Where did he
Wally.
come from?
He was there.
Here comes Elliott Sadler. He's in 5th spot, trying to work his way back to the front.
Then they're 3 wide behind the first 6. Well, that outside lane really took off this time, didn't it?
Oh, sure did.
Bush in the 5 car.
Oh, Mark Martin,
oh man,
up the hill.
Wow, what a great job Mark Martin did of saving that race car.
And what was all that smoke back there?
I bet that's tire smoke from somebody getting trapped in that.
Looks like a Jeff Gordon.
It is. The 24 car of Jeff Gordon.
Got a left front, probably cut down.
Marty.
Jeff came on the radio and said, guys, we have a left front going down. The caution is now out. He said, we have to change this.
If it doesn't blow before he gets to pit lane.
And tear the fender off.
Field is frozen under caution. Remember, it will be a double file restart. Let's take another look.
Okay, now watch the 5 car. He gets underneath the 6, gets him loose. Mark does a great job hanging on to this car. So does Jamie McMurray in that 26. But, you know, that's not something, I mean, that could have been avoided. I think Mark Martin needs to take a walk down and talk to Kyle after this race, because that was a little bit too much too early.
Dave?
And after they congratulated Mark Martin for a great save, after which Mark said thanks, whoo, they said we will go down and find out what the urgency was with the 5 car.
And there you see where the 24 car gets in the back of the 17. It caused the fender to go in on the tire. But the 26 car of Jamie McMurray also ran in the outside retaining wall.
There's a huge domino effect when somebody 3 or 4 car lengths in front of you or even further slows up. And it reaches deep into the field. That's on board with Junior.
Inside.
Boy, I tell you, I don't know how in the world Mark Martin saved this car.
He shouldn't have saved that car. I mean, that was a heck of a job. And then, like you say, after you get happy after you saved it, then you get mad because of what caused it.
Gordon to pit road. Marty?
Well, as you can see, Bill, Jeff Gordon coming slowly down pit road. They have to fix the left front fender. Jeff was very calm on the radio, said he ran into Matt Kenseth. That's the biggest issue. They're going to change these left side tires. Now, remember, in this Budweiser shootout format, you must pit under green. So this does not count for Jeff Gordon's pit stop. Clay Robinson, the front tire changer, is going to work on the left front fender. Jeff has actually shut the engine off and now taking his gloves off.
Marty, I think they said the oil cooler
as well. Yeah,
the oil cooler's broken in the car.
Exactly, BP. So Jeff is taking his gloves off. This may be terminal for the 2014.
Looks that way. I thought it was tire smoke, but I guess in fact it was oil smoke.
Yeah.
Crew looks under the hood.
You can see the oil puddle underneath the car right there.
The NASCAR official saw it and pointed underneath.
Yeah, they're done.
All right, so the crew going to work underneath the left front of Jeff Gordon's.
While they work on the 24, let's check on the 99 with Matt.
Bill, while Gordon in the 24 was trying to make his way back to pit road, Carl Edwards in the 99 came on the radio and said, I have fluid all over the windshield. I don't know who's leaking it. Ends up being the 24 Gordon, but I am having difficulty seeing, so they are talking about pitting and pull a tear off from the windshield to help his visibility. To Dave.
Matt, the 26 of Jamie McMurray did receive some damage. He said, I got squeezed into the wall by the 6 sandwich was the word that he used. So they're going to check the damage, especially on the right rear. They're going to change tires and also roll the fender out a little bit to make sure that they have clearance. And that jack, they've had problems with the jack. The team's going to go back to work on it, and it came back down. This team is brand new with Jamie, but that looks like it might be a bit of an equipment problem there. But they'll fix the damage, and Jamie will hope he'll get back out. He's got a tire mark on the left side, damage on the left rear, and now damage on the right. We'll see if he's still quick.
Jeff Gordon climbing from his machine. Done in the Budweiser shootout.
So Matt Kenseth is on pit road.
Talking it over with his crew. Jeff Gordon will start second in the Daytona 500 1 week from today.
So here's another look at it. You see
Marty?
going up high
Well, it actually seems to be sort of a kind of a good mood around down here in the Jeff Gordon camp. Steve Letarte had a smile about it. It was a hole in the oil cooler. And did you think it was a tire at that time?
Well, I was hoping that's all it was in the fender, but I don't know what happened. You know, we were running along there, and I think the 38 or somebody checked up big time, and I got in the back of kids at one time, and then they slammed on the brakes even harder. And I tried to go up the racetrack. I don't know if it was somebody ahead of 38 or what, but I just know they all checked up. And it's a shame. We had a great race car, man. I was having a blast out there racing with those guys. Even though the bump drafting's out of control, you know, the Bud Shootout's a fun race. And just, you know, unfortunately we didn't get to see what the DuPont Chevrolet had for them in those last 50 laps.
Seemed like you and Jimmy were working awfully well together and kind of worked your way to the front there together.
Well, it's really hard to pass. It's really just a two-groove. Not two-groove racetrack. It's just everybody's really blocking the middle, and you know that you can't go to the outside. So you just wait for a hole to open up through the middle and creep up through there one or two at a time. And we got a good Hamlin race car, which I was real happy about. We learned enough to take into next week, and we know we got a better car next week. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope Jimmy can do it. I was trying to push him, and Kyle Busch, Brian Vickers, we were all working pretty well together. Hey, we weren't able to be there at the end.
Dave?
Marty, the car that Jeff ran into was the 17 of Matt Kenseth. It's the right rear on this black and white number 17 that has the most damage, obviously. They fixed it to the point where they got clearance on the back end, but it's not really smooth back there, so any aerodynamic advantage that they had back there has really been lost.
Thanks, Dave. Under the caution here in the Budweiser Shootout, NASCAR has asked the driver of car number 5, Kyle Busch, to settle down on the racetrack. Look at that.
As he left pit road, he told the crew, you know what, this set of tires is vibrating. I don't know if it's the tires, I don't know if something didn't get tight, but they put the right sides on, and now they're taking a long time looking at the left sides before they put them on and send them back out. Marty?
Dave Kinschrader leaving pit road. We talked to you about their water temperature issue, it being actually too cold. They came in, they put on a half-inch, or actually quarter-inch piece of tape. It's a silver tape on the front grille of that 21 car, hoping that water temperature will pick up, and thus the engine performance will be a little bit better.
You need warmer temperatures to generate more horsepower, right, Benny?
Well, it needs to be about perfect. It needs to be around 200 degrees. Anything less than that, not perfect. Anything more than that, not perfect.
We're going to take our last commercial break. If it stays green, we'll stay here on TNT. The Budweiser Shootout from Daytona is brought to you by the new Gillette Fusion, the best shave ever in manual and battery power. And by new Icebreakers Ice Cube Gum, the frosted cube that's surprisingly cold. Try new Ice Cubes, the gum that has everyone saying, whoa. And we're ready to go at Daytona. Field coming around to get the green. Be 42 laps to go. When they cross the line this time, with Jimmy Johnson and Tony Stewart on the front row. Double file restart, no passing till you're across the line.
Okay, the last time the outside row was fastest with Jimmy Johnson there, and this time it's Tony Stewart on the outside.
Get him wound up.
AB?
Hey, Justin Dale Jr. with his repaired race car. Look at him up there inside of row 4. He was just told by his spotter, Steve Meal, the 55, Michael Waltrip, is the car behind you.
Former teammates. Tony Stewart trying to get over in line.
I don't know if he's really trying to get over in line. I think he's just trying to squeeze down on everybody, but wow. Inside line's got to run, and Tony Stewart doesn't have much help right now.
Well, Mark Martin ducked behind the 5 and left Tony out there by himself. So Tony's got some drafting help now. It's Joe Nemechek behind him. 48 of Johnson, the 5 of Kyle Busch, our teammates from Hendrick Motorsports.
Elliott Sadler in the 38 car moves into the 4 spot. And there's Dale Jr. in the 8, trying to get to his bumper.
Michael Waltrip trying to hook up with Jr. Michael Waltrip driving the 55 car.
Looks like Michael's having trouble closing up on the back of the 8 car.
Told you before the race he could pass him, BP.
That's what he said, but David Michael got a good push to the 17 car. Looks like Elliott Sadler got under the 6 car of Mark Martin. And Kyle Busch going for the lead on the outside.
He got a big push from the 20 car of Tony Stewart just there.
And Mark Martin got out of the gas to stay out of trouble.
And Carl Edwards is in no man's land, 3 wide with no help at all behind him. I give him sure that hole looked good when he jumped in there, but it doesn't look good now.
No points. This an all-star race. More than $200,000 to the winner and a lifetime invitation to this event.
Carl's not giving it up. He dove to the outside, up in 3 and 4. He's still out there.
Is he smoking? Smoke going out there? I can't tell if that's smoke or dirt. He's running pretty high.
Could be speedy dry.
There's the 20 car. Stewart on the high side of Jimmy Johnson.
Pack. Kyle Busch in the lead. Elliott Sadler behind him in the 38. Dave on Kyle Busch.
I talked to his crew chief, Alan Gustafson, yesterday about this 5 car. I said, how was it for you? And he said, our biggest problem is that we couldn't draw up on other cars and make the pass. So we worked on both aero issues on the body and our carburetor. We feel like we can pass today, and now he's the leader. Alan?
Elliott Sadler's crew chief, Tommy Baldwin, told me just before the restart, minor adjustments on this car during the break. They have a very good race car. They think they can win. He's showing some strength.
Hey, Alan, why did he fall back in that first 20-lap segment?
Just got shuffled out of line, BP, and being careful. They don't pay the money until the last lap, right?
Okay, you're right.
There's Junior down on the bottom. Getting squeezed down on the bottom.
Elliott Sadler jumps up high. Junior goes by. Michael Waltrip trying to stay on his bumper.
That was a block.
That was a big-time block by Elliott Sadler in that 38 car. Because I was so impressed with Michael Waltrip. It looked like he was going to struggle to keep up with Junior, but he got on the back bumper of that 8 car, and they were going somewhere.
You think Elliott wanted to get behind the 8?
I think he did.
37 laps to go.
I think the 8 wants to get by the 5.
That 5 car can be tough to pass.
Boy, that's some serious blocking there, isn't it?
I guarantee you that 8 car will lay the bumper to him if he keeps doing that.
Now the backstretch. On board with Junior. Trying to get a run on the 5 of Kyle Busch. He's got it. Dale Earnhardt Jr. loves to drive the high side here at Daytona.
Jeff Gordon said it in his interview a moment ago that you can't pass on the outside. We'll see if Junior can.
He didn't really have enough help up there. He had a good run going, but Elliott Sadler wasn't close enough to keep him in the trap. Now he's got Jimmy Johnson behind him. And there goes Waltrip into second spot.
Michael thought about popping up high to see if Junior would latch onto his bumper, and that might happen on the backstretch. Marty.
Well, it wasn't long ago, Bill. Jimmy Johnson was up front. Now he's had to work his way back up to the front. The biggest problem for Jimmy Johnson, he's lost the guy that he was going to pit with, Jeff Gordon, now out of the race. So Chad Knaus had to go make a deal with Ken Schrader's car and also Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car so they could pit at the same time. Alan?
Look at Denny Hamlin in his first ever NASCAR Cup Series restrictor plate race, challenging for second place in the 11 car on the inside. His crew chief Mike Ford told me this race was all about friendships and relationships, showing he could behave himself in the draft as a rookie to get the veterans to draft with him in the Daytona 500 next week. Denny's been on the radio 2 or 3 times during this race, saying our car is even better than it was in practice. I can get to the front. He's doing it.
Got help too. Tony Stewart.
Michael Waltrip started this 50-lap segment in 14th position.
And has worked his way up to and took the lead on the last lap in that 55 car.
Michael on the high side.
And look at this Michael Waltrip go. Wow, unbelievable.
Allen on on Mikey.
Yeah, Bill, this is a driver who believes he can get the job done here at Daytona. I talked with Michael earlier this week. He said, you know, I'm still the guy that was pushing the pedal to victory lane in 2 Daytona 500s. I may have a new team, but we've got good cars, good engines, and I think we can do it. He's pushed that car all the way to the front after losing the draft in the first segment of the race.
Unscheduled pit stop for Elliott Sadler. So this continues on the track. Sadler is in his stall on pit road. Kyle Busch in the 5, Denny Hamlin in the 11. Allen?
Overheating on Elliott Sadler. That's why they brought the car to pit road and try and clean the grill. And they took 4 tires while they're here. Remember now, they're good to the finish on fuel from here. The problem is they pitted by themselves. They've got no drafting help.
Casey Kane did the same thing. The 9 car has been on and off of pit road. Mark Martin in that 6 car on the high side trying to get back to the front. Marty, you working some strategy down there?
Well, and Chad Knaus was working the strategy earlier, trying to make a plan with Ken Schrader and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Chad just radioed to Jimmy, we're pitting in 2 laps.
Sadler trying to get back up to speed while the field roars by. You need a partner when you pit. Otherwise, you will not be able to maintain the speed the rest of the field has.
Oh, Tony gets from the back of the 11 car, almost turns him around.
Teammates.
He has been pounding on this bumper for the last couple laps.
Trying to educate his teammate?
Well, I mean, no, that's just what you got to do here. You do it in the straightaways, not in the corner. But Stewart's been doing it on the straightaways, been helping that 11 car get down the straightaway.
Both drive for Joe Gibbs. Hamlin is a rookie. Stewart a 2-time series champion. The defending champion of the NASCAR Nextel Cup.
And I think that Jeff Gordon was correct. He said that you couldn't pass on the outside. You had to do it on the bottom. We saw the 8 car, Dale Earnhardt Jr., try to pass on the outside. He finally just given up. They got back in line on the inside.
Casey Kane, the 9 car, to the garage. Matt Yoakum.
Bill, they've been fighting a fender rub, among other things, since that first big wreck, and finally they just said, you know what, the fender rub is just too much. Let's just take it to the garage and not be a hindrance to other people.
Thanks, Matt. Let's see if we see pit stops this time. 30 to go. Michael Waltrip, the race leader. Denny Hamlin in second. Oh, Tony Stewart contact.
Kyle Busch went down to make that, to try to block the spot. Dave?
Kyle Busch wants to pit. He tried not to get out of line, but the 11 got in under him. They were telling him to wave everybody off, and then he tried to get around Tony Stewart. And we got everybody trying to pit and go around people.
Trying not to wreck. Carl Edwards, the 99 car, had no place to go. They all started slowing up in front of him and did a good job.
Burns.
Kyle Busch's crew heard that Jimmy Johnson, his Hendrick teammate, was going to pit on this lap. They decided to do the same thing. This team is together again in this year, and they're working fast. Marty?
That was a close call for Jimmy Johnson coming to pit road. He wants to take 4 tires here. No changes to the chassis. Chad Knaus said, how's the car? Jimmy said, I'm good. Don't worry about anything. He did pit with Ken Schrader, so he will have some drafting help. Also his teammate Kyle Busch on pit road as well.
But a long stop for Schrader, Marty, as the 5 and the 48 leave pit road.
I'd like to see how much damage is on the right front of Tony Stewart's car, because it looked like he got into Kyle Busch pretty good.
Matt, what do you know?
Mark Robertson and Spotter tried to get a look at that fender as he drove by the front stretch. Tony says the hit was hard. Sure, there is damage, just not sure how much. They're talking about pitting in 1, maybe 2 laps. The guys are up on the wall.
I don't see any smoke coming from the 20 car of Tony Stewart, which is good.
Might be coming from the driver, though. Take a look.
Here's a replay of what we're talking about. Tony Stewart is under the 5 car trying to make a pass. The 5 car comes down to block. And we see the damage to the left rear quarter panel on the 5, and you know there has to be damage to the right front fender on the 20.
There is a little bit of damage right in front of the right front wheel, but it doesn't look that bad.
This is on board with Stewart. Black flag, Carl Edwards. They're going to penalize Carl Edwards for the move at the entrance to pit road. Passed the car below the yellow line.
Those cars were, yes, he passed cars. They were pitting.
Yeah, he could have put them in row 12 if he wanted to. Michael Waltrip, Denny Hamlin, a rookie, Tony Stewart on board with Stewart. Matt on Edwards.
Bill, they just told him over the radio that he will have to make a pass through. He said, for what? They said, you passed below the yellow line. He said, I was trying to avoid the crash. And then his spotter, Bobby Hudson, chimed in and said, I'm sure other cars passed us because we slowed down. We'll have to take a look at the tape.
That's what it looked like to me. Let's take a look at it. But everybody slowed up in front. You see him on the bottom there. Now these guys are all slowing down. All Carl Edwards is doing right there is avoiding a wreck. He did not gain any position.
He lost position.
By doing that, he lost 3 positions. I do not understand that one. I guess he could have just wrecked him and then not got penalized, but I mean, that was just avoiding a crash.
I'm not coming. It's wrong.
I wouldn't either. That's Carl Edwards on the radio.
Now these two cars, the 48 and 5, are a lap down to Michael Waltrip.
Driver, crew chief, car owner 99 to the NASCAR rig after the race.
Sorry.
What? I'm sure what NASCAR is going to say that he passed the cars, the 5 and 48 that were making a pit stop. He passed those under the yellow line.
But what else was he going to do in that situation?
Pass above the yellow line because they're slowing down to pit road speed.
He's either going to run them over or he's going to do what he did. What he did, he avoided a crash. I don't know any other thing he could have done in that situation.
Be fun talking about for the next week, though. Jamie McMurray in the 26. Carl Edwards is taking his penalty, his pass-through penalty on pit road.
At 55 miles per hour. Why didn't he go ahead and pit?
He has to do the pass-through anyway.
Oh, got to do both, huh? Well, that's going to hurt.
Unless a caution comes out, he may well hit it in the garage.
Here's a battle for the lead. Tony Stewart trying to get by Michael Waltrip. He has help on the outside, a car in front.
'26 car, Jamie McMurray. We've been talking about how strong he looked. He's there.
Remember, he banged off the wall earlier. It's Ryan Newman in the 12 right behind him.
Oh, got to run there.
3 wide.
Did he ever get her? What in the world?
12 car.
That was amazing.
And don't forget, the whole back end of that 12 car was wrinkled up in that accident earlier. A major chassis adjustment last time. 4 rounds on the track bar to get that car moving. I think they found some speed, huh?
Without a doubt.
Michael Waltrip has got a very good handling car right there.
Junior trying to work his way forward. 24 laps to go. Now 23. Most of these guys still have to make a pit stop. Dave Burns.
Bill, we wondered how Jamie McMurray's car would be after he had that right rear damage on the 26. It's obviously very good, and one thing they said to each other earlier during the 10-minute break was, our car is very quick.
And guess what? McMurray now has some help in the form of the 8 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Matt?
VP Stewart, the 20, has worked himself to the bottom, planning on pitting this time by.
Hope he's waving.
A lot of fast cars right behind him. Stewart, heavy on the brakes. Ryan Newman right behind him. Whoa. Wow, 5 guys to pit road, including Mark Martin. Matt on the 20 of Stewart.
And he leads speeds, a host of them, Bill, down pit road. The back bumper pushed in. Shaggy Larson has the wedge wrench in the back window. They're going to make an adjustment. Dave, what about Martin?
Very good car so far, Matty. Just a little bit tight. They wanted to put a little extra air pressure in the right rear tire to help that car turn better. Alan.
Denny Hamlin coming down pit road following his teammate Tony Stewart. Going to be a 4-tire change. Ahead of him, Joe Nemechek locked his brakes up so badly he had a flat right front tire getting to his pit stall. Wow, that's a tight race.
5 of them off pit road in a pack.
Here comes 4 more cars off turn 4 on the pit road. 26 McMurray, 8 Earnhardt Jr., Michael Waltrip 55. Dave, coming to you.
Matt Kenseth in the 17. His car also a little bit wanting to turn better, so they will change that track bar. That's what the wrench is all about. 4 fresh tires for Kenseth. Alan.
Well, Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to get this car back to the front after it was nicked up earlier. He's going to pit. They're going to take 4 tires here on this pit stop. Michael Waltrip also coming in with Dale Earnhardt Jr. Going to get 4 tires on his car. The 2 of them will try and get together on the racetrack, leaving the stop and draft their way back to the front. Question is, which car gets off the pit road first? Dave?
Just before that last pit stop, McMurray reported that his car was starting to get a little bit loose, a little bit too happy in the rear end of the car. They made a slight air pressure adjustment to help Jamie in the 26.
Carl Edwards was on pit road. He has been penalized for too fast entering. Another pass-through penalty.
This is where you pass through the garage area.
Yeah, you pass right down pit road into the garage. That'll be a fun post-race interview.
See, there we saw the 11 and the 20 just blow by those cars just leaving pit road.
Sometimes it doesn't pay to complain, huh?
Well, I did catch the corner of my eye. He came flying down there. He had his right front locked up. That's just being frustrated right now.
Junior and Kenseth trying to get up to speed.
Looks like when all this shakes out, it's going to be Tony Stewart and his teammate Denny Hamlin. No, Scott Riggs is the leader.
Kenneth's the leader. Has he pitted?
No, he and Jared have not pitted yet.
They've got to pit.
Yes.
Oh, I'm
Riggs
sorry.
pitted for
They
2
did.
tires.
I got you. Took 2. That kind of strategy, huh?
Because they were a lap down, right?
They both pitted on lap 48 for 2 tires, the 10 and the 88.
But behind them, with 20 laps to go, comes all those cars with 4 tires.
Oh, they'll catch him and probably pass him.
Okay, now let's listen in to a conversation with Carl Edwards.
There's no way in hell I'm not pulling in. I don't know how we get penalized for checking up and everybody passes us. We lost spots and we're getting penalized? Not penalized because we're not pulling in. Are we gonna lose the lap? I'm not coming. It's wrong. Come down pit road now, Carl. Oh, wrong or not, there are rules. Come down pit road. I'm sorry, buddy. I got to draw the line there. Sorry, man.
But he did come down pit road.
How about Denny Hamlin, the 11 car? His first race in the Nextel Cup car at Daytona, the Budweiser Shootout, he's leading.
Denny Hamlin driving for Joe Gibbs, a teammate with Tony Stewart, the reigning champion in that 20 car right behind him. See that big yellow mark on the back of his car that indicates he's a rookie.
And he's showing everybody that. That's the view he wants to show them.
You want to know I'm a rookie? Well, I'll be out front at Daytona if you want to make sure. Matt on the 11.
BP, when you were a veteran right before you retired, did you ever take anybody under your wing and kind of gave them the hints and the pointers on what to do at a big place like this?
No.
Well, Tony Stewart did at driver intros, and he told young Denny Hamlin, who's his teammate, a lot of different things to expect today, but also to try to learn, but also earn some respect from his competitors. And he's doing a great job following all the lessons that Tony taught him at driver intros.
And I asked BP for some advice one time. He said, no, I'm not giving you any, Wally. You're on your own.
$17 laps to go.
And every lap that these cars have run in this Budweiser Shootout, all these laps have been faster than their qualifying laps. The fastest lap that Denny Hamlin has run has been a 47.08. They qualified about a 48 flat.
And that's the fastest lap of the race so far.
That's what the draft will do for you, huh? Draft, cooler temperatures, little shade.
Or if Tony Stewart's scratching his head about taking somebody under his wing right now.
We'll know on the final laps.
I don't think Denny Hamlin's going to move over and let him go by.
And we'll find out if he can pass on the high side.
But this is where the veterans will take advantage of a rookie. Because if Tony Stewart goes somewhere, Ryan Newman and Mark Martin and Dale Jr. I think will go with him. And we'll see.
Boy, Hamlin, who was so impressive in the final few races of 2005. Got himself a full-time ride in the NASCAR Cup Series. Now's leading at Daytona, Alan.
Hey, Bill, his spotter, Curtis Markham, a former NASCAR Busch Series driver for many years, up on the roof, just radio down to Denny. You know you're better on the bottom. Just protect the bottom. Don't give up the bottom. Think he was emphasizing the bottom enough?
I think he wants him to stay on the bottom, Alan, but may be wrong.
The question is, how much does he look in his mirror?
Oh, he's looking in his mirror more than he's looking out of his windshield right now. I guarantee you that.
But let's face it, this 11 car is every bit as fast as a 20 car.
Yeah.
They come from the same spot.
And it has been hard to pass. Hard to pass the leader without a lot of help.
But Stewart knows what he's doing. If he's got to back off a little bit, let that 11 car get out there, then get a run. I think he's biding his time.
Yeah. For about 5, maybe 7 more laps.
Right.
15 to go right now in the Budweiser Shootout at Daytona. You're watching live on TNT. Tried to get this one in last night. The rain wouldn't let us. So we start the season with a Sunday afternoon affair.
And no one wants to move out of line and try to go to the outside because they've all tried it. It hasn't worked. All they're going to do is give up spots.
It's too close to the end to do that. Everybody right now is just trying to stay in line, hold what they have until all heck breaks loose with about 3 or 4 laps to go.
Stewart runs second behind Hamlin. Then it's Ryan Newman in the 12 car. Mark Martin in the 6. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car. Runs fifth.
There's McMurray back there. The 26 car. He's in 9th spot. He's trying to make something happen there. He popped out for a while.
Didn't work.
No. Here goes Michael Waltrip, 55 car on the high side of that white 17 of Matt Kenseth.
Kenseth thought about drifting up there to see if Mikey would push him. Then they both went back down low. If you're back there, you got to make it happen a little sooner.
Yeah, you really do. If you got to have the guy like in 6th or 7th spot pop out and then everybody back there go.
Dave?
Mark Martin wants to know when Dale Jr. is going to make his move. I mean, he wants to know when he's making his move so he can precede him and get pushed by Jr. rather than pass by him.
He's
Here he
making
goes.
it now, Dave.
And he didn't go with Mark.
No, he didn't go with Mark.
Mark went high, Jr. went underneath, and Kyle Busch went with him. Mark loses 2 spots.
Here's McMurray on the high side. He's got some help.
Kenseth in the 17 behind him, then Michael Waltrip and Jimmy Johnson.
He's got fast help.
Allen?
Dale Jr.'s just not giving up. He's been told by his spotter, Steve Neal, expect the 5. That's Kyle Busch to go with you anywhere you want to go. Jr. wants to go to the front. Let's see if he can get some drafting help to do it.
12 car gets in the back of the Tony Stewart car, gets him a little bit loose, and Stewart's going to lose a couple spots.
And McMurray's going to come up and jump on his bumper, and we'll see what happens now. McMurray makes it 3 wide.
He had a pretty good run.
But he didn't quite clear the 20 car. Talking about the 26 of McMurray. Clearing Tony Stewart.
That's only going to help the bottom line, though, with those guys running side by side or 3 abreast.
Stewart, who was running second behind Hamlin, fallen well back in the pack now. So Newman now runs second. There's Tony in the middle. McMurray on the outside, Kenseth on the inside.
Those guys are going to lose that front pack. if they stay 3 wide.
Oh,
I don't think he's real happy with McMurray.
No.
I don't know. What do you think, Bill?
Kyle Busch with Michael Waltrip coming from behind. Look at the rear of that 12 car.
There is no rear.
It's hanging on the fence over on the backstretch.
On board with Waltrip. Kyle Busch right in front of him.
If these guys keep running like this now, the pack behind them will catch up. McMurray, Stewart.
Carl Edwards has scored 17th, 1 lap down in the 99 car. Michael and Earnhardt side by side. Here comes McMurray again. McMurray's got a fast race car.
He does have a fast race car. He just can't seem to be in the right line.
Eight and a half to go.
Goes Stewart underneath Mark Martin. Those guys did catch that pack.
They sure did. They fell all the way to the back. Now they're coming back towards the front.
In a hurry. See, Hamlin's going to have a problem here in a second.
Whoa, Tony Stewart gives a big push to Dale Jr. in the 8 car.
Kyle Busch on the high side.
And I think that
Newman makes it 3 wide going into 1.
I don't think he had a choice. I think he got a shove from the 8 car, and I just don't think Newman's car is that fast in a straight line. It doesn't seem like he's struggling with that rear bumper gun.
I think the 8 car got in the back of the 12 and kind of drove him up into turn 1.
Oh! Earnhardt leaned a little too far to the inside. Tony got by him. And the 55 all over the bumper of the 5. Said it was just for fun. For the lead. Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin. Marty Snyder.
Marty's going for the lead?
Oh, Matt.
And Tony Stewart said, tell the 11 just to keep it on the bottom. Hold his line. I've got everything else covered. Boy, what a dogfight he's got with the 8 in his mirror, Bill.
Wow. Tony Stewart was up there, fell way to the back, worked his way to the front. Now he's on the bumper of his teammate again.
You see the 11, Denny Hamlin, you see his hand in there. He's waving. I don't know what he's waving, but he's doing a lot of waving in
He
there.
said, good to see you again. Where'd you go?
Yeah, please don't leave me again like that.
Exactly right. I'm a rookie.
It's getting dark.
Boy, Junior wants by bad. Here he goes underneath 20. Waltrip will go with him.
Oh. Six laps to go. Look at Hamlin. Look at him go.
I'm telling you what, Junior, he gets behind somebody, he gives him a push.
Michael Waltrip to the high side.
Man, oh man, he's tried 3 different lines down the backstretch. Now there's that shot to drive the 8 car past the 20.
Oh!
Boy, they all did a nice job there.
And folks, this is 185, 190 miles per hour.
Bumper tag. It's exactly what Hamlin wants to see in his mirror right now. It's these guys just leaning on each other. 12 car up the middle.
Stewart on the high side.
Oh man, that 26 car was loose. Jamie McMurray.
Loose is fast, right?
A little while.
Loose is wrecking when you're that loose. You know, I think Tony Stewart is trying his best to help the 11 car.
I think
Denny
he
Hamlin
is.
win the race.
I agree.
I think he is. I just don't think anybody can get close enough to Junior to help push him by.
Marty
You're exactly right. Tony wants to help Denny win the race, like Matt was saying earlier. Tony clicked over to Denny's radio, said, listen here, you worry about your line. Don't worry about anything else. I've got these guys behind you. Trust me, that 11 car wants the 20 in his rearview mirror, but the 20 wants to lead.
Got some help from Jimmy Johnson.
Oh, in the wall. Who was that, Newman? Newman and McMurray? Yep. 12 car in the wall. It's got smoke coming off the right front.
Mark Martin underneath. That's Ryan Newman in the 12, falling back.
And Tony Stewart, the 20 car, has the lead.
Caution. Caution for debris. Be 3 to go when they cross this time. The field is frozen. 18 scoring loops around this 2.5-mile track. Once the caution comes out, the field is frozen in that position. Let's go back and take a look.
Yeah, watch up top. Looks like Newman just drifts up the racetrack.
McMurray got a piece of it, didn't he?
Yeah, McMurray was in there. Yeah, he had nowhere to go.
I think McMurray got in the right rear of the 12, kind of drove him up in the fence, and about the same time that he hit the wall.
Dave, I don't think McMurray's got much right side left on there to damage, does he?
You know, he said it several times today. He said that he's going to stay out if he can. He's got a lot of rub in there, but he knows the race is almost over, so he's talking about not coming to pit road.
Wow.
That's the pretty side. Yeah. The other side's the ugly side.
Big donut there on the 6. Marty?
Well, guys, let's keep an eye on Denny Hamlin's tires. He just came on the radio, said we just ran over some debris, some metal, he said. So they're going to keep an eye on the tires, make sure those tires on the 11 car stay up.
25-year-old Denny Hamlin.
You know, we talk about this race not having any points, not anything to worry about except just going for it. It looks like the points might be the calming effect on these guys, because this has been wild.
This has been. Week from today, 500 miles, the Great American Race, the Daytona 500. You'll see it live on NBC beginning at 1:30 Eastern Time. Pit road is open. We're watching the Budweiser Shootout live on TNT on a Sunday afternoon after getting rained out last night. There's Kyle Busch, followed by Jamie McMurray. The 5 is headed for Dave Burns.
And they waited until the last moment to pit. He slides into pit road. He is still within his pit box. They will change 2 right side tires and send Kyle back on his way. No adjustments to the chassis. They're going to change 4. They're going for 4 now, guys.
But Davey's too close to the wall. The jack man can't get to the left side jacked up.
Slowly but surely, they raise the car, and this is going to cost Kyle all the track position he had earned on it.
Matt Kenseth, Ken Schrader.
It's that one mistake we talked about earlier at the top of the show. You just make one little mistake like that.
Well, if the plan was to take 2 when he locked him up, he probably had to take 4, didn't he?
Could be.
It's the right side of Jamie McMurray's car.
Got the bat out. Rolling the fenders.
Get the sheet metal off of the tires.
Yep.
New colors for Jamie McMurray, and he's left some of it on the wall here at Daytona today in a couple of spots.
Doesn't have much color left.
Ryan Newman in that Alltel machine on pit road. They work on that. He's also been in the wall. Under caution for debris.
How many restricted plate races has Denny been in? Hamlin. Do we have experts up here that can give us that information?
Probably 1. I mean, other than in Nextel Cup?
Yeah.
In Nextel Cup.
Probably 1 in Nextel Cup.
Nextel Cup. Because this is going to be a pretty important restart for him. This is going to make all the difference.
Kyle Busch has had an entertaining afternoon here in the Budweiser Shootout. Won a couple of races last year. And this is today.
Gets in the back of Mark Martin. Mark goes up the racetrack, almost gets in the wall.
Right under the 48 of Jimmy Johnson on pit road. Hope Jr. a little loose there.
That's not how you win and friends and influence people, but
Hamlin has not made a start in a restrictor plate race until today.
Well, he didn't run October in Talladega.
Well, not that this restart means anything.
No,
but this is one he wants to do well at.
This race only pays $212,000 to win.
Marty?
Yeah, not bad for a guy who's making his first restrictor plate start. And let's talk to Mike Ford. Are you worried about the debris you ran over, first of all, Mike?
No, not in a non-points race. I mean, we came to win. You know, we're tied for the win right now on the outside on this restart with 2 laps to go. You know, the FedEx Monte Carlo has been running real good today. Denny's real happy with it. We're real happy with Denny. Everything's good here in Daytona.
It's quite impressive, isn't he, Mike?
Yeah, for 8 races to run the way he's run, you know, it's encouraging and a lot to look forward to.
Mike told me a moment ago, you know what, that caution flag, that came 1 lap too late for us.
Tony Stewart, Denny Hamlin, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jimmy Johnson, Michael Waltrip, and Mark Martin. The front 6 cars did not pit. Behind them, a variety of pit strategies. 2 tires, 4 tires.
But no room and no time.
No. What do you got, Dave?
Guys, on the 26, Jamie McMurray did come down pit road because he had what he thought might be damage to that right front tire. They took the tire off, big gouge in it. He never would have made it to the checkered flag.
Field coming to the green. There will be 2 laps to go when they cross the line, and no passing until you get across the line. Teammates on that front row. Tony Stewart in the orange 20 car, Denny Hamlin in the FedEx number 11.
And that's a good point, Bill. Denny Hamlin in the 11 cannot jump Tony Stewart coming down for the line.
And in these restrictor plate races, we have seen Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Tony Stewart work very closely together. Right now, Jr. behind Stewart, 2 to go.
Last time by Jimmy Johnson, the last time he was on the outside of a restart, the 48 car got a terrific start. So he can get another great start and push that 11 by the 20.
He got a pretty good restart, Denny Hamlin in the 11 car, but boy, they are packing up right now.
Johnson pushes Hamlin in front, and Hamlin dives down low.
Good move, Denny Hamlin.
Now can Tony Stewart latch onto the 11?
Got a lap to do it.
Can the 48 get some help from Mark Martin to get in front?
Last lap in the Budweiser Shootout.
The 20 car is just beaten up on the bumper of that 11 car, Denny Hamlin, but that's why. That's what you can do.
Look what a difference it made, Wally. 2 car lengths that drove him by the 48.
Only 4 times has a first-time starter in this race gone to victory lane. The last time, Dale Jarrett in 1996.
And here comes Junior on the outside on the last lap.
Big run on the outside. Does he have enough?
Off the final turn in the Budweiser Shootout. The season starts with fireworks. Denny Hamlin, the rookie, wins the Budweiser Shootout.
And second was Tony Stewart. One says Stewart and one says Earnhardt Jr.
That's how a rookie earns respect at Daytona.
And tremendous credit to Tony Stewart, who helped his teammate.
That is unbelievable.
He can't get that window net down fast enough. Dale Earnhardt Jr. with a wave.
Jimmy Johnson congratulated him.
You don't see many donuts on that 11 car, do you?
You sure don't.
He did it clean.
Marty Snyder.
Well, this is an emotional moment for Dennis and Mary Lou Hamlin. Mary Lou, the one who guided Denny's career to this point. His father, Dennis, put him in a go-kart when he was 7 years old. Mary Lou, you all right?
So excited.
How intense was it, Dennis, in the last few laps?
Yeah, I didn't know. I know as long as Tony was up there, I was all right, but I tell you, the last 5 laps, I was about to have a nervous breakdown. I'm so excited, I don't know what to say.
How proud are you of your board, Mary Lou? There were so many moments getting him to this point.
I can't hear it.
And how proud are you of your boy? There were so many moments getting him to this point.
Speechless, I'm just so proud.
Long road, long road.
Right, when Joe Gibbs hired him, they weren't even looking for Denny Hamlin. He said, you know what? If you need someone to help you with some Busch Series testing, I can help you out there. They called him a month later. He had a ride. Here he is winning at Daytona in the Nextel Cup Series.
That'd be the first burnout of 2006, right? Go ahead, Denny.
Denny and his father were standing in the sign-in line at a short track. It was their last race because they were out of money. It was a late model race. They were out of money. And someone overheard them talking about being their last race. And he said, how much would it cost for you to go to the next race? Because I'm going there, and if I win, my car wins, I want to know I beat the best. So you call me Tuesday and tell me how much money it will cost for you to go. Jim Dean was the guy's name. Well, Monday, Jim Dean and his driver had a falling out. So when Denny called him on Tuesday, Jim Dean said, how about driving my car? They won 27 of 35 the next year, which got the attention of everyone, and that's why Denny Hamlin is here today. He was done. He and his dad were done last race.
There's the price you pay for the burnout. Matt?
Well, the 11 car out on the front stretch, smoky burnouts, and Tony Stewart pulled that young man aside at driver intros, and you gave him a long talk, and it looked like he listened, Smoke.
Yeah, I told him, I said, I know he's got a fast enough car. He's just got to be patient all day. He did a great job, so it was awesome. I was hoping we'd get 1-2, but we got close.
Tell you what, a lot of beating and banging out there, almost more than normal.
Yeah, we're going to kill somebody, so, I mean, somebody else is going to die at Daytona or Talladega with what we're doing right here, so I hope I'm not around when it happens.
A lot of bump drafting, definitely a lot of slam drafting, as Dale Earnhardt Jr. comes up and shakes his buddy's hand there.
You could have done that if you wanted to, Matt. I'll go ahead. You guys are talking about that last run, and you had a whale of a run there at the very end, Junior.
Yeah, man, we had a blast out there. I mean, it was wild and beating and banging. Not necessarily what you want to be in the middle of, but right there at the end when we got side by side and we got to race with Tony a little bit, that was a lot of fun.
Well, talk about the bump drafting. It seemed a little too intense. Tony had some very strong comments about the bump drafting.
Yeah.
Is it unnecessary, Junior?
Well, it's a necessary evil is what it is. You can't race restrictor plate race without doing it. You have to do it, or else we'd be single file and nobody will show up to watch that. But I had fun racing with Tony. I had fun, with the one-on-one personal battles. I don't like getting turned sideways off of turn 2, and when the guy behind me can't lift because somebody's pushing him and somebody's pushing a guy. I mean, they don't know they're turning me sideways. The guy 3 rows back don't know he's doing it, but that's what happens. You get stacked up. And, it's just dangerous, but they pay us pretty good to do this, so I'm not complaining, buddy.
Some very strong comments here post-race from Daytona, Dave.
With Kyle Busch now, who finishes back in the pack after leading this race. Kyle, talk about the situation on the backstretch when you wanted to pit and then got out of line and tried to force your way back in.
Well, it was just one of them deals where, we're pitting and I've been waving for the past lap and a half and somebody tries to stick their nose in there. So I just came down trying to get back down to the bottom and I was able to get back down there. But, the CarQuest guys did a great job today and gave me a pretty good piece. But just one that wasn't very good and sucking up today. And, it's pretty surprising. You got the biggest turd you got in the stable and you finish a restrictor plate race. So maybe we'll have to go cut it off instead of wrecking it off.
Some tells you they'll bring a better car to the 500 next week. Alan?
Well, just a couple of years ago, Denny Hamlin was knocking around the short tracks in Richmond, Virginia, Southside Speedway, South Boston, Virginia. Now he's in Daytona's victory lane. Denny, welcome to Daytona's victory lane.
I can't believe it. It wasn't 2 years ago I was here
as a visitor of Dale Earnhardt Jr. He invited me to come 2 years ago and stay in his motorhome, and that's the only other time I've ever been to Victory Lane, but I just can't believe it. Just thank everyone from FedEx. Had a rough year last year, but it's time for redemption. We're coming back this year, and we're going to win Rookie of the Year.
Tell me quickly about those last couple of laps.
It was intense. I thought when Tony got by me, there were 4 to go. It was over with, but I had good help. Jimmy gave me a great push down the back straightaway. Thank him, and Tony pushed me the entire other race. I don't know what to say.
Woo! You think you made any friends for next Sunday?
I hope so. That was my main goal tonight. I figured I wasn't going to have any help at all. And all I wanted to do was just gain respect from these guys for the 500, and hopefully we did that.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
There's some people want to celebrate with you. Denny Hamlin wins at Daytona. Can you believe it? In his first try.
Amazing. Isn't it, Alan? Here is the unofficial finishing order for the 28th running of the Budweiser Shootout at Daytona, won by Denny Hamlin. Thursday on TNT, it's the Daytona 500 qualifying races at 2 o'clock Eastern Time, where we will set the field for the 48th running of the Daytona 500. Next on TNT on the East Coast, it's Exit Wounds, and on the West Coast, it's Heat. An amazing run for the rookie who drives for Joe Gibbs, takes the checkered flag, and wins the season-opening Budweiser Shootout at Daytona. We'll see you Thursday for the qualifying races right here from Daytona.
Copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced.